Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome to the Naturally Yours podcast, where we celebrate our beautiful women of color while spotlighting their success and bringing more awareness to our natural hair. On today, for episode 10, I have the pleasure of interviewing a special lady who is a published author of a dynamite book. Her name is Aurion Monae. Help me introduce Miss Aurion.
Hello.
Hello, hello,
Hello.
hello. How are
Thank you for
you?
having I'm doing well. Thank you for having me on your show number 10. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm
Congratulations.
super excited about today's episode, and it's going to be so powerful. So I hope you brought the book with you so you can read us a
Yes.
passage or two out of it.
Oh, I'm gonna grab it. It's in the other room because I was editing, but I'm gonna grab it. Let's do that. I'm gonna grab it while we're introducing.
Okay.
And we're talking. Yeah, go ahead. I'm listening. I'm here.
Okay. So I'm really excited for you to share the book with the world because honestly, there's not enough recognition that goes to our Black kings. So I love that you created this book for them because, they really need their flowers. They really need their love um, and support as well, just like we need it. They need it as well. So I am so glad that you were thoughtful enough to create such a powerful book for really a power couple because not only can a man read this, a woman can read this to her man. So I
Absolutely.
super love this book that you created.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. And I thank you for like recognizing that because the way I have like decided to formulate like, who is for, as I say, is dedicated to the Black men, written for the Black women, in a conversation about Black love, right? Because coming from a Black woman's point of view, it's obviously written for the Black woman. I hesitate to use on behalf of because I can't represent everyone, but I feel like there's a lot of sisters that can relate to, if not every single piece, a lot of them, well, from the voice I'm coming from. So I don't want people to get confused, the dedication confused with only for. It's only dedicated to, but it's not only for the Black men, it's for Black um relationships, couples, friendships, anything that's going to spark those conversations. So I have it. This is actually my first test copy, y'all. So as you can see right there, it says do not resell. But this is what it'll look like.
It
And
looks
it's called,
good.
thank you. So I got a few revisions to make, but it looks pretty good. So it's a physical love letter to the Black men only. Devotions of Intimacy is the title of the book. So yeah.
Yes. Yes. I love it. I love it, y'all. Wait till she read y'all some passages out of this book. Whew. It gets hot. Gets hot in here, y'all.
Little steamy, for sure, for
Okay,
sure.
so let's open up the podcast episode a little bit. So Ari, y'all, I call her Ari, but her name is
Yeah.
Ariane. So, Ari, why don't you introduce yourself for the world, for the people who may not be familiar with you yet? Tell us a little bit about your background.
Okay. So my name is Aurion Monae. By as an author, I go by A Monet. I'm originally born in Memphis, Tennessee. And I just grew up around the South. I moved a lot as a child, so I just call myself Southern. Um, and I've always been a writer. I remember the farthest back I can remember writing my first poem was 5, and I think I wrote about the sunshine and like how awesome it was, if I'm not mistaken. So that's been like an ongoing gift for me. And I've gone in and out of like making that kind of important in my life. But I kind of just got to a place where I needed to express that creativity. And that turned into me, from me being a writer to like authorship. And then on the spiritual side, I have always been um connected to the Black man, and Black boy when I was younger. Not just interest or romantically or having a crush on, but just being able to empathize with the Black man's plight on a really deep level. And so those two things kind of collided, and that's how the book came about.
Mhm.
And it wasn't really on purpose. It just kind of happened that way. So I accepted the assignment, and that's what happened. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
You
So
definitely got an A+ on that assignment, girl.
thank you so
You
much.
killed it.
Thank you so much for the flowers. I appreciate you. You always give that, and so I'm excited for your project as well. So we'll twist this around in a little while.
It's all good, girl. It is
Yes.
all good. So now that y'all heard that Ari was pretty much a writer from the beginning, now Ari, why don't you tell us a little bit about what made you become, or what made you want to go down this entrepreneur lane? What made you want to also pursue the writing?
Okay. I've literally always been a self-starter, an entrepreneur. I watched my mom do it when I was younger. I don't know if it's DNA or what they say, nature versus nurture. I think probably a little bit of both.
Okay.
And that's always been me. I've always been what people call a creative. But suppressed that a lot because we need to get real jobs, quote unquote. Um, and so I worked these jobs, underappreciated, devalued, all these things. And I was always excellent at whatever job I had, but
Mhm.
miserable. And the older I got, the more I felt miserable and the less I became good at these jobs because I did not want to do them.
Right.
And I categorized myself as like lazy and unmotivated. And I finally got to a point where I think it was last year,
Mhm.
maybe a year and a half now, where excuse me, I decided I wasn't going to work any another job that I did not want. Not necessarily a job, but that I didn't want, and then that didn't work towards my purpose. And I just
Mhm.
made up my mind, and I took some L's and financially and stuff, but I just couldn't do it. And so that led into the writing entrepreneurship. So it was like a natural next step. So I was like, well, if I'm going to be like, sacrificing financial comfort, and I might as well do what I actually want to do. So
Right.
that's how
Right.
that came about. Yeah.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Yeah.
See, and it's um so frustrating when you have to spend all your time at a job that you really
Mhm.
don't like.
Yeah.
Because it's almost hard to be grateful for the job. You know what I mean? Like, because
Yes,
you don't.
because we're trained to be grateful for crumbs, and that goes deep and left. So I'm gonna leave that alone. But we're trained that we're supposed to have this loyalty to disloyal environments, and
Mhm.
you just get to a point where you're like, I don't want to, and I don't have a better reason. I don't want to.
Right. Right.
Right.
And and at the end of the day, it doesn't even fulfill my purpose. Like,
Not even
it
supposed to
doesn't
be
warm my
here.
heart. I'm not
Mm-mm,
helping anyone. Like,
mm-mm.
so
'Cause I
it's
got a
like, it's
bad
like a
attitude.
lost cause at this point.
Right. You're a worker bee, and like worker bees
Yeah.
are not happy. They're serving the queen. She's happy, but they're
Right.
not.
Right.
So definitely
Right.
that. Like it definitely was that for me. So it just pushed me into purpose. And it's been a hard road because I had to
Mhm.
learn that um to believe in myself, or I'm learning to believe in myself. And that's a whole different thing to tackle. But it's a lot more fulfilling. Like, I lay down at night. When I talk to people about my book and stuff, it feels real and authentic. Like even when I introduced the job that I have now, I love it and I love the work that I do, but I get a lot more excited about talking about my book because that's more purpose driven, and
Right.
it's mine. Like I know I could talk about it all day because I was there for every step, every all the blood, all the sweat, all the tears, so I can talk about it, in depth.
Right.
Like so yeah, yeah, it
Yes.
feels
I
good.
know that's your baby.
It
You
is.
birthed your baby. And
Yes, this is
it,
my baby right here.
I understand completely. I understand. So why don't you tell us a
Okay.
little bit about the book,
Okay.
and what your favorite passage may be, or maybe if you have two of
So
them,
hard. That
and
one
why?
is so hard. Oh my god, that's so hard because it's like having children and having to pick one. And so it's like this one gets on my nerves sometimes, but I love this one. And this one gets on my nerves sometimes, but I love this one for this reason. I only have one, but you know, I'm a godmom, a auntie, all that. So I understand that. Um so that one's kind of hard, but let me try to think. Um I think Ogun always pops in my head first. And it might be my love
Ogun.
for yes, it might be my
Okay.
love for the warrior god and the black man. Growing up, my mom used to always be like, "Arya, stay away from them dang on thugs," you know. Like, that was what
Right.
I always got. And so, what I realized when I got older in hindsight is that I didn't see black men that way. Like, that's not what I saw when I saw the men that I was attracted to, or the young boys at the time I was attracted to. I saw like strength, and I saw like resilience despite their circumstances, and that's always how I've seen black men. So I think that one pops in my head first.
Hmm.
um and then I have another one called Wounded, and that one
Okay.
is about a black woman who needs the comfort of a man's arms and security, and it's just like pouring out the vulnerability of that. Like, she shows up at his doorstep a mess, and she
Hmm.
just pours out like her feelings about that, which we don't get to do very
Yeah.
often. So
Hmm.
it's like it's one of those things where it's like something you would like to do, but you may not realistically have the opportunity to do. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So
Gotcha.
yeah.
But he was like her knight in shiny armor.
Yes, but it was like in a realistic way, right? Like, just
Right.
somebody that loves and accepts you in like a vulnerable moment, like because you got a lot of men that'll show up in a nice horse, aka car, apartment, but
Hmm.
there is no weight or quality to who they are as a person. So it's like
At all.
you can bring your Honda, just make sure you got good insides, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
Right.
right. So yeah, that's what those two pieces are kind of about.
The vehicle or the house or
Mhm.
the condo or wherever you reside should not be nicer than shouldn't be nicer on the inside than you.
I
You know what I
know that's
mean?
right. Come on. That sounds like a T-shirt now. Come on now.
Yeah.
Don't preach to
So
them too much. Don't preach to them too
I'm just
much
saying,
now.
like, if your ride is nicer on the inside than you, that's a problem. Like,
It
you
is a
need to check
problem.
yourself.
You're right. It's because you're spending energy into, and it's nothing wrong with it being nice, of course, right? But it's like you're
Right.
putting energy into the things that make you look good instead of the things that make you I
You,
hesitate to use the word good, but that make you
who you
um
are.
who you are, right? Like whole, basically. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. And it's
absolutely.
easier to do, right? It's much easier to go purchase bins than to unpack childhood trauma and
Oh,
stuff like
yeah.
that. I would rather
Oh,
do that
yeah.
any day. Right.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah,
For sure.
for
People don't
sure.
like to dig up things
Mm-mm.
that they haven't healed from.
No,
So,
it's
and
uncomfortable, but
it's
it's so
very
necessary.
important to heal. It definitely is.
It is, and I think referencing what you do, I really think the natural hair journey is healing for Black women
Yes,
because
it is.
we've been taught not to love our crown and glory, and also that our crown and glory defines everything that starts here down, and it's like you realize that is like that takes up the least amount of your body mass, right? Is like, as women or whatever, least amount of your body mass is literally like your hair. And so we degrade the whole rest of our body based on what we got going on up here, right? And is I think
Mhm.
it's a healing journey. Like, and you don't have to necessarily rock a natural style. I think this gets mixed up in order to put time into making sure your real hair is healthy. You can wear a wig every day if that's what you want to do, but you got to make sure what people can't see is healthy first. And that's a real, like, it's a healing process for us. Like,
Right,
it really is. It
right.
really is.
Now, I will say about the wig situation, I don't,
Awesome.
me personally, I don't think a person should wear it all the time. because
Yeah, because I lost my
your
edges
hair
like
needs to
that.
breathe. You know what I mean? And if you keep that on your head 24/7, eventually it's probably going to start to rub away at your edges because those wigs tend to do that, especially the ones with the combs in them,
Right.
or the ones that's super tight. Because even if you
Mhm.
have a lot of pressure just on your head up here, that can cause you to shed hair, lose hair as well, because your head's not properly getting the circulation that it needs because you have all that pressure and stress on it.
Right.
So,
I've definitely lost my edges from wearing a wig too much. The combs,
mm-hmm,
and then it starts to hurt. Also, it can give
mm-hmm,
you like headaches. You're like all day. You're like, why do I have a headache? And then you get
right.
home and you take your wig off. You're like, oh, that's why I
It
had
was
a
that.
headache.
Right.
Right.
Yes. Yes. So,
Definitely.
I mean, I'm not a wig person. I don't wear wigs, but if I had to give my opinion on it, I would
Mhm.
say don't make it, don't turn it into your real hair. Like, don't hide your real hair under the wig and just
Mm,
make that what someone sees every day all year long for 12 months. Like, no. I feel like that's a insecurity issue if you're doing that. Because you
right.
should love what grows naturally out of your head. There's no reason
Right.
not to. No other race don't dislike their hair. So why should we be disliking our hair? That makes no sense. Like you know what I
Absolutely.
mean?
And then
Like
I agree with you 100%. And then you have what I think about sometimes when I make insensitive comments like I have made insensitive comments like about like my hair or whatever. I think about the women that have like alopecia or like they're going through cancer treatments and they don't have a choice of having their own hair. And I'm like, and they don't have a choice of having their own hair. And I'm like, they probably would enjoy the 2 inches of hair that I have. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm like, I
right.
think about this sometimes when I make like, comments and I'm joking and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
dang, that kind of is a little bit insensitive because, some women they wear wigs and stuff like that because of their going through that. Um,
Right.
and I understand that, but then at the same time, it's like they still have to. I feel like the women that go through those health issues, they learn to love
Mm-hmm.
themselves even before women that don't ever go through it, because they have to
Right.
come face to face without being able to hide behind it, and they radiate
Right.
so beautifully. Um, they
Right.
radiate so beautifully when they find their self love, and it almost makes you be like, well, maybe I should be bald. I don't know. Like,
Right.
who's
Right.
doing it
Right.
with?
And I
Right.
will say going natural definitely boosts your confidence. It definitely does because we're not used to, walking around with natural hair. Like we were pretty much all of us was brought up with the creamy crack. All of us had crack. All of us had the relaxers.
Right.
Some point here and there. Unfortunately. So I
Right.
really, really pride myself on educating the community, letting them know that these relaxers are harmful. They cause an 80% chance of breast cancer in the colored woman. And it also causes memory loss.
Hmm.
It can cause you to become agitated more easily. It can cause your moods to basically fluctuate because those chemicals are soaking into your brain. So there's nothing good that comes from it.
And
So I
then,
just
oh no, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I just try to bring awareness, to all of these issues because people think that it's just okay to keep getting relaxers, like just because your hair may be growing and you may not experience any trauma with relaxers, they're still bad for you. And people
Right.
always try to justify it for them, like why it's not bad. And it's like, no, there's no other way to say it. Them and the hair dyes, and people like to dye their hair. And then there's another thing about when you dye your hair and you're supposed to have natural hair.
Mm-hmm.
Once you apply chemicals to your hair, you no longer have natural hair anymore. Like someone
Mm-hmm.
with dye and you're supposed to have natural hair, but you don't have a relaxer, you are now considered chemical treated hair because hair dye is
Mm-hmm.
chemicals.
So you
Oh,
have chemical treated hair now. You're no longer natural. Once you throw that hair dye
I
on there, you're no longer natural anymore.
I've never thought about it. Makes total sense. But like just for example, when you see someone with locks and it's dyed, you see the
Hmm.
locks, so you're like, oh, that's I've never thought about like the fact that um that is considered chemically treated now or is. And you know
Yeah.
something for me, I don't really speak on this a lot because I don't have a like journey and I don't want to like delve into something I don't have experience. But it's just like a lot of times when I see people, whether it's locked or not locked, and they have like especially really long hair, right?
Hmm.
And healthy, and you see these videos of them getting dye transformation. Oh, it makes me cringe. I'm like, oh, you just killed like 60 inches of hair. Oh my god. Like, it
Yes.
kills
Yes.
me. It kills me. And I have people all the time because I'm really short, like bald or whatever. I call myself bald head. And people keep saying, I'm like, I'm getting bored. They're like, you should dye it. And I tell them, like, I don't want to use dye. Like, if I can't find somebody that'll do henna treatment, like that's professional, I don't want to do
Right.
it. And they keep telling me,
Right.
well, it's not that bad. I'm like, do y'all know the stuff that's in this? Like, if I'm gonna be natural, I'm not gonna go on top of it and put dye. Like, I'm not doing that. Like,
Right.
I'm not
Right.
doing that.
Exactly. It
Come
people
on.
gotta people gotta make it make sense because
Mhm.
if it was natural, why does it cause harm to you? Like,
Right,
how can you consider hair dye on top of your head natural if it causes harm to your body? It's not
right,
natural. So it's like people have to just be real with themselves. Stop trying to justify something that it's not.
right.
It just
That's what
doesn't
we
work that
do.
way.
It's the well, I've always done it this way mentality that we tend to have as people.
Hmm.
That I am who I am when you need to work on your character. And it's like
Right.
that doesn't justify it. Like
Mm-mm.
everybody else is looking at you like,
Hmm.
okay, if that works for you, but it's like the reality is like maybe you should open your mind to it. And the thing about it is I think we forget we could be honest and say, this is literally what I want to do right now. That's just honest. Like this is what I
Right.
want to do right now. This is what makes me feel beautiful or whatever. And then I think we should own where we are but be open to learning. I feel like that's the best way to grow. You could literally say like, hey,
Yes.
I don't feel like I have to justify what I'm doing, but hey, I'll listen to you and see what I
Hmm.
can take from what you're saying, as long as it's not harmful to me. Um
Right.
and I think that's the part that we skip. We feel like we have to explain, and then in
Hmm.
explaining, you start making not making it make sense. Like, okay, so it's like I think that's what it is. Like, you don't have to explain. You can just be in your truth, but just be open minded. Like,
Right.
so it's just like I like it. I have a friend who's like, I just like my hair permed. I feel more beautiful. I talked to her about it. But that's how she is. That's where she's at. So I leave it at the table and then we go on with the rest of our conversation.
Right.
So it is what it is. So what you're doing
Right.
is wonderful though, because I learn stuff every time I come in your lives and stuff like that. I learn like something
Hmm.
different about what you should do and maintaining it. Because I have like every other black woman, a whole bathroom full of products I've gone through and didn't want to throw away because it costs money.
Right.
And um,
Right. Because they
so
expensive.
right. I'm definitely like learning like from you and stuff like that for sure. Definitely appreciate the work that
Oh,
you're doing and in
thank
the
you.
space
Thank you,
that you
Queen.
create. You're very
I
welcome.
appreciate it.
You're very welcome.
Okay, guys, so we are now about to let Ari read some passages out of the book. So get
Ooh.
ready for some heat, y'all.
What things to say? Let's get ready. I ain't gonna say the rest because I don't want no copyright infringement, but y'all know the deal.
Right, right.
Y'all know what's up.
Exactly.
Okay. So since we're focusing on beautiful women of color, I think I'm gonna go with start with wounded because I feel like that's like from more focused on the black woman as far as explaining her truth in that moment to a black man. And I feel like it's super relatable. So I'm going to read that one. So I'm so excited, y'all. I'm reading out of the book.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Give
So
us the heat, girl.
yes. Okay. So this is devotion 40 in the book, and it is called Wounded. And you guys can get a glimpse of what the pages look like. They're set up as devotion, because they're dedicated to the black men. And then, so all the entries look like that. Okay, so
Awesome.
here we go. Wounded. I'm embarrassed to show up here without calling first. And my response to your shirtless body and confused face is whatever you think it is, no, it's worse. This is a matter of the heart, my heart, but I will let you undress me first. Unclothe my body and touch my pain. I'm going crazy. Please fuck me sane. Lick the hurt from my glands. Lift this weight with your hands. In this moment, I need a man. I pretended all day, made my own way, constructed truths that were fake, but you make that all go away. One look at your eyes and I am safe. I never feel protected unless I am with you naked. I never feel find my peace until your tongue traces the insides of my thighs and your manhood penetrates a lifetime of lies. The truth is that I can never tell you my truth. I don't trust you or any man. Something you never understand but only you can fix. You fuck me into complete oblivion, but it is never about your dick. You are so much more to me. You show me all that I can be when I see my reflection in your eyes. Your lips read my body down like Lady Angelou, yet still I rise. You never speak to my demise and find the time to criticize my missteps. You just take me in when I show up like a straight at your doorsteps. You hold me, kiss my forehead, and say, I know. I melt into your arms before I hit the floor in tears because life has ravaged my hope. You pick me up, wipe my tears, speak life, and show me how to cope. You make me tea, let me vent, then tie me up with rope. I love it rough. I come harder when you fuck me while I choke. I doze off medicated as you cover me with a blanket. Then push my foot onto the bed because you know I get superstitious when it's left hanging. I wake up to breakfast and your shirtless smile. My first response is to throw on last night's clothes, grab my shit, and run the other way. But you healed me here. My soul is clear. I'm thinking that I should stay. The
Woo.
end. Yes.
Ooh, spicy, y'all, spicy.
Yes.
I love
Um,
that. I loved it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So
Yes.
that's what the book is. It's a combination. I like to call it poetic conversation because it has like a poetic rhythm. Um
Yes.
and sexual every piece is not sexual, but all of them are like most of them are, and then some are more love intimacy, but it has those undertones because in that space, if I put myself in the character space, I'm using sex and the physical interaction, for healing, but I'm dealing with someone that makes me feel safe. So it's like that's a real part of life, right? Like we do that. It happens. It's criticized, but it's a real part of life. So it's like, let's talk about what that means between two people. Like, you maybe it's not such a bad thing to do if you're in a place of someone that's protective towards you.
Hmm.
Maybe you shouldn't be doing it with someone that's not protecting you in that moment. You know what I'm saying? Then you will walk away
Right.
feeling empty and feeling used maybe. So that's the type of conversation that I intend to evoke
Hmm.
with those type of pieces, like with really all of them, but yeah. So
That's gotcha. No, you did so good writing this book,
thank
Ari.
you.
Like
Thank
this book
you.
is dynamite. Like this gonna be a best-selling author.
Oh,
Like
thank
this is
you.
gonna,
I can't
yeah,
wait. I can't wait. I can't
yes,
wait to
like
pass you on some red carpet. Like, girl, I haven't seen you in forever. How are
girl, we
things?
still gonna be in contact. I might not see you
That's what
for a
I'm
little
saying,
bit,
but
but
we're gonna be booked and busy, so it might be
yes,
a little while because we're gonna pull a Issa Rae, and I think her friend's name is Yvonne, where Issa Rae is kind of like the writing creative, and then Yvonne I think is more the producer slash actress. So I'm like, we're gonna pull, you know what I'm saying? You doing it, I'm doing it, we
yeah,
can together type
right,
thing.
right, girl.
Um,
One day might even be on a like on a author trip together, like on a
That would be
booking trip
so
together.
awesome. I would just
I
love
know,
it. I would
right?
just soak that up so much. Like, girl, get your table next to my table, girl.
Yes, yes,
Love it.
for sure.
Love
That
it,
would be
love it, love
awesome.
it. So,
Okay.
go
I
ahead.
wanted to ask you one more thing. So,
Uh-huh.
why don't you tell us a little bit about what do you see next for your business? Say, what's your next adventure?
What I'm finding out, this entrepreneur slash authorship is teaching me a lot about, and we talked a little bit about this personally, a lot about um what my superpowers are. Like, I've limited myself so much to what I can do.
Mm-hmm.
So my mind is starting to open up. I know for sure that I will be in the latter part of the year, also coming out with a like clothing and accessory line. Um, I would actually want to be doing some books with my daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and definitely speaking more, interacting with people, like, as people say, boots on the ground. I really, for me, the vision that I have, I see this book allowing me to be in spaces to help people and women connect to their truth, and then like ultimately purpose, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
almost in kind of like a loosen you up type of way. Because if we could talk
Okay.
about these taboo subjects, you could start to have conversations with yourself about the things that you have avoided, the shadow work that you have avoided. So
Mm-hmm.
that's my goal. Like, sex is, it seems surface level, but it's really a lot deeper, because it's something that a lot of us have tiptoed around, especially in our community, for so long. So it's like, if you could talk about that, maybe you could talk about some childhood trauma. Maybe you could talk about
Mm-hmm.
your relationship with your parents. So my goal is
Right.
to help unlock those keys that like keep us from getting to purpose. Like, that's what I would like to, the impact I would like to have, like, on people.
You definitely
Yeah.
will with that book, because that
Thank you.
book is everything. Yes, that book is
My mom is
dynamite.
so embarrassed when I tell her that
She
I
shouldn't
when
be.
people
She really shouldn't be.
when I
It's
ask
too
when people
good.
ask what it's about, she goes, and I try to, and I intentionally will be like sex just to like annoy her, and she'll be like, life, just life. But that's the point, right? Like, my mom's generation, that wasn't a thing, right? So this is the
Right.
progress that I want to make with people. Like, let's talk about, of course, in certain settings, places, and all that, but let's talk about it, because there are 8 billion people in the world, so it's happening.
Right. Right.
So
Uh,
yeah. Okay, so my next steps is, so what I see is like the topic topic of like sex and intimacy, even love, can be like really taboo in our community. So what I want these pieces to do, and what I envision, is for it to spark conversation in romantic relationships, platonic relationships, the barbershop, the beauty shop, in our community, period, to
right.
open up those doors. And what I
Mm-hmm.
feel like is, if you can start to unlock those doors, that your olders, elders have, society has told you to keep under lock and key, right? Because we sweep everything under the rug. And I say all the time, like, in our community, the rug got so much stuff under this a roof now. But
For real.
it's like, for real. So it's like, if you can have conversations about that, you can start to, I want that to start to unlock purpose for you, because now maybe you can unlock childhood trauma, maybe you can unlock abuse, or maybe you could unlock mistreatment, or maybe you can unlock your true love for a passion, right? So I want those
Mm-hmm.
conversations to lead to people to start to peel back the layers that are weighing them down, from purpose. So that's what
Mm-hmm.
I envision, sitting in the room talking with people. And when, I read a piece or I talk about a piece, and the people make the cringy faces, and I'm like, well, how does that bother you? Like, let's unpack why you feel like I shouldn't say this out loud. There's all
Right.
adults here. So what's
Right.
the issue, right? So that's
Right.
what I see myself doing, is helping people to unlock the parts of themselves that they
That'd
have
be
suppressed.
dope.
Yes, I'm so excited about that. I envision it every day.
Yes, that's your
I'm
passion
excited.
then. That is definitely your
Yeah,
passion.
yeah.
Girl,
So that's
well, you gonna kill it. You gonna kill it.
thank
I
you.
can't wait. I
Thank
can't wait
you.
because I want to come into one of the rooms, one of the classes. Just
Yes,
just to
VIP.
like just take it in.
Right,
Yes, ma'am.
exactly.
Okay, so we usually always ask about natural hair. I didn't really get any natural hair from you, so did you want to share anything about your natural hair?
Sure. Okay. So actually I had a kind of different experience than most people. My mom was very avid about my hair remaining natural, because she was very much like you, and didn't believe in any of those things, and knew the damage it could do. She had a
Mm-hmm.
severe health issue at the age of 30, and I was
Mm.
taking it by other family members, and they permed my hair. And which crushed her later, and I continued to get, of course I thought that was beauty. Um It defined my beauty. I grew up, getting perms, but it was something I always like. I feel like I had to have, but I'm like, I think what people call a naturalista. I didn't really feel connected to, but I felt it was necessary to feel beautiful. And
Mhm.
so in 2008, I was
Mhm.
living out in Temecula, California, which is kind of a bougie place, and I paid like $80 for a perm because she was the only black girl within 100 miles, and
Mm.
it burnt my hair out of my head. And I called her and I let her know what's going on. She was like, well, she basically blamed burning my hair out of my head on me. And as I'm
What?
pulling chunks of hair out of in the mirror, I'm pulling chunks of hair out of my head.
Oh
And
my gosh.
I stood in the mirror, and in that moment it like all clicked, and I'm like, why is this important to me? Like, why is it important for me to perm my hair when this is what I'm dealing with? And so I dialed it back for like about a year or so. I cut my hair short and I did
Mhm.
texturizers, and then kind of realized I was still trying to achieve a certain standard of beauty. I wanted the quote unquote mixed girl curl. You know what I'm saying? And I just
Mhm.
finally got to a place where I was like, I actually like me and I like my hair, and I'm gonna refocus on
Mhm.
what makes my natural coils look good. And it wasn't until
Right.
this year that I found a product that actually worked. Like,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? Because I didn't have people like
Mhm.
you to tell me what to do. It was
Right.
all these different voices, different products with the wrong chemical stuff you see on TV. Oprah did it, Gail did it, and I didn't have like real education. And so it wasn't until this year that I really found something that makes my own curl pattern pop out. And I'm good. And I'm still bald headed, but I feel happy. I feel beautiful. I'm natural. So yeah,
Right.
that was really my story. Yeah.
Well, I we definitely have something in common because my perm got burnt out of my head too. My edges
Wow.
was gone. My mom did it though. She,
Mm.
I kept telling her it was burning, and she kept saying it hasn't been on there long enough. You need to wait.
Mm.
Da 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 da. And I'm like, I'm in tears, girl, like begging her, Mom, please rinse this off my head. Finally, maybe 30 minutes later, she rinses it off and my sides are completely gone. And then I have a whole scab over here where I have a bald spot, a permanent bald spot because
Mm.
of it. So it has started to grow in the bald spot now.
Okay.
Like since I became natural again, my bald spot is like it triggered the follicles to come back alive. You know what I
Mm.
mean? Because they
It
were
killed
dead
it.
for a long
The
time.
chemicals
Yes.
killed your hair, like your
Yes.
scalp.
Yes. The chemicals killed the
Wow.
follicles over here. So I
Wow.
was bald for a long time. And then when I went back natural, um, I noticed that when I was doing more, I was doing a lot of natural mask and natural things because I usually do my own deep conditioners, and
Mhm.
I do things that help with hair growth and stuff like that. And essential oils is really key. Rosemary really helps your hair grow, and I feel like all of those things help contribute to reactivating my follicles in this area because the bald spot has grown in. Like it's not huge like it was.
Wow.
Like it's covering up.
You can
And
see that there,
so,
and it's crazy, like, how we're so conditioned to interact with death and expect to still live, and then when you actually interact with life and living things, you
mhm,
see, like, with your diet, like you're saying, with your bald spot, you see, like, I can provide myself life with my actions.
yes,
It's like it
yes,
blows your mind, like, what have I
mhm,
been doing up to now? Like, what's happening
right,
right?
right, exactly. Whatever I've been doing, I need to change it
It's
ASAP.
wrong. It was wrong. I did not understand the assignment. What happened? No.
Right, right, right. That is not our assignment at all.
No, it's not.
Natural is
No.
the way.
Yes, agreed. Agreed.
Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I really, really appreciate you coming on today, Ari. I'm so excited about your book. Why don't you tell them when your book drops, where
Yes.
they can find you, and your information so they can follow you.
Absolutely. Okay. So first, before I get to that, thank you for having me. sending you the most positive energy of growth with your projects as well, and your growth in business as a woman and as a naturalista.
Thank you.
Um, I see you going so far. I'm so proud of you. Can't wait to meet you on the other side of some more zeros. Okay. um,
Yes.
um,
Yes.
so, I am Aria underscore Monet on all platforms: Twitter, Twitter, IG, and what's the other one? Not Facebook, Twitter, IG,
YouTube,
TikTok. There we go. TikTok.
TikTok.
Okay, there we go.
Okay.
And then on Facebook, I am just Aurion Monae. And so the link to be able to connect with all of my social media is in the bio of each of those platforms. And you can purchase the book there, pre-order it. So it drops officially on February 14th at 2:14. So look, most of the time people are running around trying to do last minute things, trying to set up, trying to put rose petals, whatever whatever you're doing. So you got
Hmm.
from 2:14 to smooth 8, 9, 10 to peep a little bit at the ebook, get some ideas, you know what I'm saying? So so
Right. Right.
so do that. You could even maybe read it. You know what I'm saying? It would be really
Mhm.
romantic to read to your partner. You know what I'm saying? It would just it's gonna add to your life like value, because it's gonna open up conversation that maybe you were scared to have or didn't even know you needed to have. And then it's
Mhm.
also just some fun pieces in there that's like, maybe we could, try this, So
Right.
yeah, y'all are
Right.
really gonna love
Yes.
it. It's an amazing book. I am biased, of course, but I feel that it was really gifted to me to share. The way it came, the
Definitely.
way everything aligned. Like, it's not my own knowing. It's just I'm the passageway. So yeah, you guys are gonna love it.
Yes. I know we are, girl. I know we are. All the passages I heard, all of them fire.
Thank
So
you very
you're
much.
welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, thank you so much for coming on with us today, Ari. We really appreciate it. This has been episode number 10, guys. Super excited.
Ooh,
We
that
got
might be
it
backwards. Let me do
done.
it the other way. I don't know if it's backwards.
Episode
Yeah.
11 is on the way. Thanks for
Mhm.
watching. Make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe to the podcast, y'all. And me and Ari is out of here. We gonna check y'all next time. Bye.